Rancho San Pedro Gang. A legacy of power, conflict, and resilience. The Rancho San Pedro Gang, R.S.P., stands as one of the oldest and most influential Mexican-American street gangs in San Pedro, California. Originating in the 1970s, R.S.P. established its base in the Rancho San Pedro housing projects on 1st Street, becoming an enduring force in San Pedro's gang landscape. With approximately 600 documented members, R.S.P.'s impact extends well beyond the neighborhood, cemented through alliances, conflicts, and complex ties to larger criminal organizations. Early beginnings and structure. Formed amid rising gang culture and economic struggles in Los Angeles County, the Rancho San Pedro Gang provided identity and unity for young people in the community. Its structure grew to include multiple cliques, including the 3rd Street Pee-wees, PWS, 16th Street, Santa Cruz Street, Projects, and various others. This structure allowed R.S.P. to control significant territory on San Pedro's west side, making it the largest Hispanic gang in the city. R.S.P.'s influence cemented over the years, reflecting its members' loyalty and its strategic adaptation to the evolving gang dynamics in Southern California. Alliance with the Mexican Mafia and Sureños Network. R.S.P.'s alliance with the Mexican Mafia, known as La Mafia, solidified its position as a Sureños 13 affiliate, linking the gang to a formidable prison-based criminal network. This partnership included a Mexican Mafia member from Rancho San Pedro named Donaldo Galaz, also known as Stoney, who is currently incarcerated in Kern Valley State Prison. This connection provided R.S.P. members with protection while in prison, access to shared resources, and an opportunity to broaden their influence. Through this affiliation, R.S.P. became an integral part of the larger Sureños network, playing a significant role within the Rancho San Pedro 13 community. Additionally, its association with La Mafia facilitated R.S.P.'s involvement in organized crime activities such as drug trafficking and the collection of taxes from local dealers, who were required to contribute a portion of their profits to support imprisoned Mexican Mafia members. Major law enforcement actions. Operation Pirate Town. Law enforcement's massive takedown of Rancho San Pedro Gang. In an unprecedented move to dismantle one of Los Angeles's oldest and most dangerous street gangs, more than 1,300 law enforcement officers converged on San Pedro, executing a meticulously planned operation known as Operation Pirate Town. This massive raid led to the arrest of 81 alleged members and associates of the Rancho San Pedro Gang, commonly referred to as R.S.P., marking a significant stride in the fight to reclaim San Pedro's streets from decades of fear, violence, and criminal enterprise. R.S.P.'s prominent role in San Pedro's gang scene drew significant law enforcement attention over the years. In 2011, the massive sweep targeted multiple gangs, including East Side Wilmas, North Side Wilmas, and East Side Payne. ESP, also known as the East Side Ghost Town Bloods, GTB, or Payne Gang, all based in Wilmington. Other gangs affected by the sweep included the Harbor City Crips, El Monte Flores, and Primera Flats. The 2.5-year investigation, led by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, ATF, and the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, along with support from the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, IRS Criminal Investigation, the U.S. Secret Service, USSS, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, Office of Inspector General, OIG, and the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation Office of Correctional Safety Special Service Unit, CDCR, SSU, ultimately resulted in federal and state charges for 230 individuals. These charges included violent crimes, firearms trafficking, narcotics distribution, and organized crime, marking a significant blow to these gangs' strongholds. LAPD Chief Charlie Beck emphasized, "Today, the stranglehold this gang has maintained over San Pedro for decades has been loosened, making the community safer for its law-abiding residents." Taking down shot callers and crippling gang leadership. Many of those apprehended held influential roles, with shot callers orchestrating drug and weapon sales. Law enforcement released monikers identifying some high-ranking members, including Slick, Scrappy, Boner, Toker, and Fat Boy. Los Angeles City Attorney Carmen Trutanich declared, "As of today, they are done. If they come back, they are arrested." The operation extended beyond arrests. The city attorney's office filed a gang injunction against Rancho San Pedro, targeting around 300 members within a designated safety zone across San Pedro. This injunction restricts gang members' ability to associate, carry firearms, loiter, or obstruct traffic within this area. Trutanich added the best part of the injunction is it covers damn near all of San Pedro. They cannot travel to San Pedro at all, uncovering the depth of criminal enterprise. Undercover operatives conducted over 400 covert transactions, leading to the purchase of 90 firearms and large quantities of illegal substances. During the subsequent raids, law enforcement seized 14 additional firearms, including a silencer and an assault rifle, as well as smaller amounts of narcotics. John A. Torres, special agent in charge of the ATF's Los Angeles Field Division, stated, "The San Pedro community is safer because of ATF's determined efforts to target and dismantle this criminal gang that used firearms and violent acts to further their illegal operations." The seized firearms included short-barreled shotguns, machine guns, and assault-style weapons connected to the gang's activities. Tackling R.S.P's economic foundation. With connections to the Mexican Mafia, Rancho San Pedro profited from drug sales, weapon trafficking, and other illicit activities since its inception in the 1970s. DEA Special Agent Timothy J. Landrum remarked that street gangs continue to fund their criminal activity through illegal drug sales. The impact on our communities is magnified by the violence associated with their operations. Authorities took legal action against 5 properties, including a Gaffey Street pizza parlor where illegal activities were reportedly taking place. Additional nuisance abatement measures were filed against buildings that were frequently used as gathering spots by criminal groups on West 2nd Street and Sepulveda Street. Property owners who failed to comply with these actions could face business closures or demolition. Community relief in moving forward. Local and federal agencies united in Operation Pirate Town to reclaim San Pedro's neighborhoods. This operation has dealt a major blow to one of the largest, most dangerous, and longest-standing street gangs in the San Pedro area, said Claude Arnold, HSI Special Agent. This effort is part of a broader initiative that includes similar gang injunctions against Wilmington's East Side Wilmas, North Side Wilmas, and East Side Payne. The injunctions have significantly reduced crime in neighboring communities like Harbor City and Harbor Gateway and now bring new hope to San Pedro residents. HUD's Office of Inspector General played a role by reducing fraud and abuse in HUD rental assistance programs, according to Special Agent James Todock, demonstrating the operation's deep reach and commitment to restoring order. A final appeal. Aiding in the apprehension of Francisco Flores. Despite the sweeping arrests, one key individual remains at large, Francisco Flores, known as Cisco. Born on April 11, 1990, Flores is wanted by the ATF for violating federal firearms and narcotics laws. Authorities urge the public to provide any information aiding his capture. U.S. Attorney Andre Barad Jr. highlighted the operation's impact. With scores of gang members, drug dealers, and gun merchants jailed, we have delivered a staggering blow to Rancho San Pedro. The concerted actions of federal, state, and local law enforcement mark a pivotal step in dismantling R.S.P's influence and fostering a safer community for San Pedro residents. City Councilwoman Janice Hahn expressed relief, stating, "Today, it feels like the cavalry has come in, as the community turns a new page toward a safer, crime-free future."
Federal and state charges will range from gun and narcotics trafficking to witness intimidation and conspiracy to murder. Chief Beck says the tide in the war on gangs is finally turning.
In Newton, in Wilmington, in Northeast, all over the city of Los Angeles, we have had operations similar to this, and they have had astounding results.
Police now say with the shot callers of R.S.P behind bars, the city of San Pedro is safer than it's been in years.
Gang crime in Los Angeles, this year to date, down over 20%. Been down for the last 3 years in a row and has been cut in half since 2005. And it's because of these kind of efforts, and they will continue.
Now, one of the big fish that got away is this man, Francisco Flores. Investigators are still looking for him. He is allegedly a gun salesperson, and that some of the federal investigators were sold weapons. They were undercover. They're still looking for this man. Their biggest crowning achievement, they say, about Operation Pirate Town is that not one shot was fired and not one person was injured. From
Rancho San Pedro gang leader sentenced for drug trafficking operation. Robert Stretch Messersmith, a 34-year-old member of the Rancho San Pedro, R.S.P. street gang, was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison for his involvement in a major drug trafficking operation. The sentencing, held on January 14, 2021, represents a significant setback for the gang's criminal activities in the San Pedro area of Los Angeles. Messersmith, who oversaw the gang's daily operations, pleaded guilty in September 2020 to one count of conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute controlled substances. United States District Judge Stephen V. Wilson handed down the 120-month sentence, highlighting the severity of Messersmith's crimes and his position within the gang hierarchy. The R.S.P. gang, operating under the control of the Mexican Mafia, has long been known for its involvement in violence, intimidation, and drug trafficking. The gang's activities extend beyond mere drug sales, as they collect taxes from drug transactions and funnel this money to incarcerated Mexican Mafia members. 3 such members, currently serving lengthy sentences in state prisons for murder convictions, were identified as beneficiaries of the gang's illicit profits. From August 2017 to May 2018, Messersmith was involved in significant illegal trafficking activities. He facilitated the distribution of prescription pills, arranged sales of other illicit substances, and coordinated plans to smuggle contraband into a correctional facility. His involvement in these operations was substantial, as evidenced by a recorded telephone conversation in May 2018 where he boasted about a successful drug transaction, comparing it to a touchdown like Peyton Manning. Messersmith's arrest and conviction were part of a larger operation targeting the R.S.P. gang. In June 2019, a federal grand jury returned a 26-count indictment against 13 R.S.P. members and associates, including Messersmith as the lead defendant. The indictment alleged various narcotics and firearms offenses, underscoring the gang's deep involvement in criminal activities. The remaining defendants are scheduled to face trial on April 27, potentially leading to further convictions and disruptions to the gang's operations. The investigation that led to Messersmith's arrest and subsequent conviction was a collaborative effort involving multiple law enforcement agencies. The Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, spearheaded the investigation, with substantial assistance provided by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF. This multi-agency approach demonstrates the commitment of law enforcement to combating organized crime and drug trafficking in the Los Angeles area. The case is being prosecuted by Assistant United States Attorney Joseph D. Axelrod of the Violent and Organized Crime Section, further emphasizing the federal government's dedication to dismantling criminal organizations like the R.S.P. gang. Messersmith's conviction and sentencing serve as a stark warning to other gang members and criminal organizations. It highlights the ongoing efforts of law enforcement to disrupt and dismantle drug trafficking operations, particularly those with ties to powerful criminal networks like the Mexican Mafia. The substantial prison sentence not only removes a key player from the streets but also sends a clear message about the consequences of engaging in such criminal activities. As the remaining defendants await trial, the impact of this operation on the R.S.P. gang and its criminal enterprises remains to be seen. However, the successful prosecution of Messersmith represents a significant step in the ongoing battle against organized crime and drug trafficking in the San Pedro area and beyond. Violent rivalries and racial conflicts. The Rancho San Pedro, R.S.P. gang and the Dodge City Crips, DCC, were once allies, sharing the Rancho San Pedro housing projects and maintaining an uneasy peace. This fragile alliance came to an explosive end in 1995 following the murder of a DCC member, a killing for which R.S.P. was held responsible. This incident ignited a fierce, racially charged rivalry between the predominantly Hispanic R.S.P. and the African American 700, transforming their former alliance into a battleground. The fallout led to violent confrontations and hate-related crimes that extended beyond the two groups, pulling in other rivals like the Harbor City Crips, Wilma's Gang, Young Crowd, and Harbor City Rifa. With the escalating conflict, R.S.P.'s dominance over the San Pedro project solidified, marking a pivotal chapter in the gang's history of power, territory, and resilience. Media spotlight and notable members. The chilling case of Angelo Regino, a nightmare on San Pedro streets. The activities of the Rancho San Pedro, R.S.P. gang have often captured media attention, particularly during high-profile cases involving its members. One such case involved Angelo Regino, an R.S.P. member whose actions in 1988 shocked the community and drew widespread media coverage. Regino was convicted of murdering Johnny Healy, a 49-year-old man found dead in his truck after being robbed and shot. This case gained notoriety not only for its brutality but also because Regino allegedly resembled Freddy Krueger, the infamous horror character from A Nightmare on Elm Street. Larry Kalistad, a homicide detective, noted Regino's resemblance to the character, highlighting his brown-brimmed hat similar to Krueger's and his eerie references to the character during his crimes. In a trial that captivated public interest, Angelo "Caveman" Regino, then 19 years old, was convicted on multiple charges, including murder and several felonies related to a series of late-night attacks in San Pedro. A Compton Superior Court jury deliberated for 3 days before finding him guilty of all charges. These included murder, attempted murder, 2 robberies, and 2 attempted robberies. The verdict meant that Regino faced a life sentence without parole. The courtroom was tense as the verdict was read. Regino's family expressed their love for him as he was led away, while the jury's decision rested heavily on ballistic evidence linking him to the crimes. Victims testified about Regino's chilling modus operandi. In at least 3 attacks, he wore a dark fedora akin to Freddy Krueger's. One victim recounted how Regino forced him to strip naked and cryptically declared himself as Freddy. The crime spree began on January 7, 1988, when Johnny Healy's bullet-ridden body was discovered in his pickup truck on 18th Street. Known as an eccentric figure in San Pedro, Healy had been sleeping in his truck following a dispute with a roommate. Healy died from 8 gunshot wounds. A neighbor later testified about seeing Regino near the scene that night. Regino's violent path continued with Jerry Brookham, who narrowly escaped after being accosted by Regino near Pacific Avenue. Another incident occurred a month later near Regino's home on 17th Street when Ruel Cruz was attacked. Cruz testified about being robbed at gunpoint by a masked assailant who laughed maniacally and identified himself as Krueger. The night after Cruz's ordeal, Regino and Tomas Graida robbed a local market at gunpoint. Although no one was injured during this robbery, the crime added to the mounting evidence against Regino. Police later found crucial evidence in Regino's apartment: the rifle used in these crimes and items linking him to Freddy Krueger. Jacqueline Ferguson, the jury forewoman, emphasized that the ballistics evidence was pivotal in reaching their guilty verdict. Deputy Public Defender Erwin Pransky argued that the rifle was commonly used by others in the neighborhood, but Regino's refusal to name any accomplices weakened his defense. Despite testimony from family and friends providing an alibi for Regino on the night of Healy's murder, jurors were convinced by other evidence of his guilt. The special circumstance of murdering during an attempted robbery meant that Regino faced either life imprisonment or death. However, due to his youth and minor criminal record, the district attorney chose not to pursue the death penalty. Superior Court Commissioner Anita Ray Shapiro holds the authority to alter Regino's sentence if she overturns the jury's finding regarding the robbery attempt. Pransky plans to request that Shapiro overturn the entire verdict. This case remains a stark reminder of how real-life events can eerily mirror fictional horror stories, leaving lasting impacts on communities and individuals involved. Economic ties and criminal enterprises. R.S.P's role in drug trafficking and organized crime extends beyond its rivalry with other gangs. The gang has established a profitable system by collecting taxes from local drug transactions, funds that are then funneled to Mexican Mafia members in prison. This economic arrangement sustains R.S.P's operations and helps maintain member loyalty. The gang's ability to generate revenue through criminal enterprises underscores its connection to larger organized crime networks, making it a formidable presence in Southern California. Legacy and ongoing presence. Despite ongoing law enforcement efforts and internal conflicts, R.S.P. remains deeply embedded in San Pedro's community. Its organizational structure, bolstered by alliances with powerful criminal organizations like the Mexican Mafia, has enabled R.S.P. to survive decades of change and pressure from law enforcement. Though their actions often involve violence and crime, R.S.P. members find a sense of identity, solidarity, and protection within the gang. The loyalty of its members and R.S.P's adaptability have helped it endure, symbolizing both the challenges and complexities of gang life in Los Angeles County. In many ways, R.S.P's story is emblematic of the dual nature of gang culture, offering belonging and identity while also bringing exposure to violence, conflict, and criminal activity. Through its legacy of power struggles, economic pursuits, and cultural impact, R.S.P. remains a resilient force in the landscape of Southern California's gang networks. Its history reveals the tension between community and crime, highlighting the enduring influence of one of San Pedro's oldest gangs.